Hello, hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. I hope you're all doing very, very well today. I, I must apologize. One, for the quite a few days it's been since I've last done a stream, and two, about the fact that for a little bit, I'm not going to have any motion on my model. You'll see in a moment because I was a little bit busy today. I was a little bit excuse me, let me get that set up. But I was wrong one. Where's my shoost? There we go. Unfortunately I was kind of away a lot today. I was busy with a lot of things to do. And so what's kind of happened is I thought my the thing I use for tracking was fully charged, or at least mostly charged. It was not. And now I'm just kind of sitting here waiting for it to charge enough so that I can, be in motion. Oh, that's so lame. I'm like moving my face, but nothing is happening. But it's nice to see you guys again. It's nice to see you. It's been a little bit. It's been a little bit, I must say. It's been just a couple of days, really. I think the last time I streamed was what? Last Sunday, was it? I think it was Sunday, or was it? I think it might have been Saturday or Sunday, anyway. And usually I stream, I would stream the Monday and the Wednesday or something like that. But I was busy. I was visiting family. I was looking after the family dog because we love dogs and we love. I posted my dog's face in our Discord. It was like as I was getting ready to go to bed. Well, he had been doing it all night, actually. He had been doing it all night. But it was pretty cold, I have to say, and I'd already had the heating on, but like it had just gotten cold again. It's just been generally cold for the past little while. So I had like 2 blankets. Where I was, there wasn't a bed made up for me, unfortunately, so I was just sleeping on the couch, which I don't mind. It's a comfy enough couch. But I was lying down. I had 2 blankets, and usually our dog, he will if I'm sleeping in a bed, he will sleep next to me. That's just how it goes. I love him. He is so cute. But I have no issue with him, sleeping on my legs or something. It just makes it so that your feet are warm or something, or like your legs are warm. But anyway, because it's so cold, rather than like curl up at the end of the bed, of the end of the couch, and like kind of be on my feet, he decided I want to be under the blankets and sort of fought with the blankets to get it up over him. Eventually I needed to lift them up so he could climb under, and then he kind of went along the side of the couch, kind of like the inside of it, between me and the excuse me, the back of the couch. And he just kind of cuddled in there and just kind of like turned his head a little bit and put his head kind of on my thigh. Oh no, Wolf! I'm sorry. I forgot streamer bot. Hang on, let me pull that up. Okay, I might have motion in a moment. Wait, just a moment. I will have motion. There will be motion in this ocean. YouTube Studio, start up, please. Why are you being like this? Hello, just a baby. You're fine, just a lot of stress with work. Oh, there I am. Finally, I'm moving. Okay, wait a minute. I can do this manually. Where's was it the face poke? Is that what is? Oh, I was reading Wolf. I was reading Wolf at the end of your name. I'm sorry. Fox, or mommy, as she goes in a Discord. I apologize, Fox. I read Wolf just at the end of your name, And I was like, oh, it just that was just what my brain went with. It was Facebook, wasn't it? Yeah. So I can do this, and then I can do that. There you go. There. And you know what? I won't even resist. I'll leave you boop my nose. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. That's that was as payment. As payment. I do apologize. Hang on, let me just get this. A lot of stress from work and moving into a new apartment and stuff like that. Ooh, that would be stressful. I hope it's all going well though. You know, even if things are going perfectly, it would still be very stressful. I must say, Anna. I do hope things are going okay for you. Although moving into a new apartment, I hope it's a nice apartment. I hope it's kind of like either an upgrade or like a side grade to what you currently were in. And not something out of necessity. And if possible, I hope it's like cheaper too. Like a good bottom. I am not. How dare you, Fox? No. I am not a bottom. How dare you? But how are you guys doing? Wait, hang on. I'll show you the dog's face. So he was under the blanket, kind of just like he's so silly looking. Just lying by my legs and like resting his head on my thighs. When I went to take the photo of him though, he quickly like lifted his head and looked up at me. Where if I do this and then this, no. Oh my god, there's so many different tabs I need to keep track of. That's him. That's the doggo. he was just eepy. I think he just liked being like really warm because he had like two blankets on him. No wait, it was two blankets. Then like he had the inside of the couch, so he was nice and warm there. And then he had like my body heat to the side of him. So he was like, he must have been like a furnace, but I will say I also appreciated it because I was quite cold, so I didn't mind him. And it was really nice being able to just kind of like pet him. Like I could never see him unless I lifted the blankets, and I was just kind of petting him as I was watching The Sopranos, which I'm currently watching. I'm currently going through. I finished season 1, and I watched the first two episodes of season 2 recently. It is a really good show. Oh man, I don't even know if it gets even better. I assume it does, but I've been really enjoying it. James, I see now why people go crazy about how good James Gandolfini was as Tony Soprano. I always think about that Twitter thread where someone was like saying like, you know, being in the mob is not an aesthetic. Don't like make jokes about it. It's not something to joke about. And someone was like, "Hey, oh, you're breaking my balls here," and she just posted like "fuck you," and he was like, "Mamma mia," or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. No, I think his first comment wasn't even anything to do with the mafia. I think he was just like, "I cook the pizza, I cook the pizza," and she was very I think it was a woman in the Twitter who posted that, but she was very upset with that man. You still have boxes laying around, and you moved like 5 months ago. I hope you, baby, unpack your boxes. Unpack your boxes. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're being so lazy. What if there's I remember one time I used to have a load of stuff just kind of thrown into, you know, it was the throw things into cupboard. You just kind of throw things in there, forget about it, and then you'd find it when you would need it again. But I remember one time I cleaned it out and I found like two 50-euro notes. I was like, when did I throw these away? It was a nice little find. It's almost like, you know, money you forget you have. It'd be sometimes maybe you should do that as just a thing to like surprise yourself. Randomly tape a 50 euro note to like something that you go to every now and again, or some money. No, you like having to go through them when you need something specific and find treasures. That's cute. That's cute. I guess it's like being in it's like being Link when he's opening up the chest. It's like every time you open up the boxes, you just have like the music playing. Exactly what you were thinking about. Yeah, you find your treasure, whatever you need. The I don't know, the whisk or the colander. For some reason, it's all to do with cooking, but you know. I was thinking of like doing little things. Like I can change it so that when I can change so that if I turned left, my body would turn right, and if I looked left, I looked right, my body would turn left. I'm gonna have to play around with that stuff a little bit more because I don't know. It's fun. It's fun to try different things. I know some people have it so that like if they look up, the model looks down and the other way around. I don't know why. I do understand it. Okay, I have a question. When you guys play video games, if it's like a first-person shooter or something, do you use inverted controls? Specifically, your sort of up-down inverted controls. Are those the only types of... Yeah, I think when most people think of inverted, it's usually up and down, and then like, horizontal inverted is kind of weirder. But I remember someone... I think I watched a video about it, and I was talking about like it depends the way to think about people, like the different points of view is how was it again? It's like how they perceive of the character, If you don't use inverted controls and you thumb up and you look up, well then you're thinking more in lines of like you're the character, you're in the character's eyes, and you are looking up or you're looking down, or that type of stuff. God no, Fox does not like inverted controls. I don't like them either unless it's like flying games. I don't play that much though. The character is dizzy and makes your controls go wonky. That's a good way to like, if ever you have a game where your character gets like concussed or something, or like it's meant to portray that like stuff is going wrong, just start messing with the player's controls. That's the best way to do things. But then for people who use inverted controls, it's actually sort of like, it does sort of make sense. They perceive it more as controlling less the eyes of the character and more the body of the character. So it's almost like if they thumb up, so they I'm obviously we're thinking about like on a controller here, but I mean the same would apply with a mouse. But if they thumb up, what they're thinking, okay, that's going to make this character bend forward. So thumbing up isn't looking up, it's bending forward, which means they look down. If they thumb back, it's the body bending up, going backwards. So they're looking up. It's an interesting way, and when I perceived it that way, I was kind of like, oh no, I get where both sides are now coming from. I think in general, I would be a non-inverted control person if I you never thought about it that way. Yeah, when I watched, I think it was a video or someone said it to me, I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. I remember I was standing around kind of being like, wait, let me try this. I ended up like grabbing my hair and being like, okay, I'm going to look back. I'm going to look up. So I pulled my head back down, I pulled my head down, and then I wanted to look forward, so I pulled my hair up, which made me look down. I suppose it's more thinking like pulling forward and back rather than up and down in a way. That doesn't mean I'm gonna play with inverted controls. No, no, no. But it's an interesting way. It would take some time getting used to it, but you're pretty sure it gets easy with practice. Yeah. I mean, so I'm pretty sure there's games that I've played that just are inverted control, like just are that way in general, and you do kind of get used to it a little bit. You do get used to it, or else you're playing something like any sort of like flying game, or like pilots are inverted controls. They pull back on their controller, their joystick, to make the plane go up. They just pull back. That's all they need to do. So like, I mean, why anyone ever crashes, I don't know. You just pull back and you go up. But I'm pretty sure I played a few games like that before, and like you do, it does take a little bit, but you kind of just get used to it. You almost kind of like, very quickly get used to understanding how that works. But I think generally I would prefer the non inverted. Oh god, what is wrong with me? I'm so eepy. I'm so sleepy. Why am I a sleepy little guy right now? I apologize if you guys are like, oh, stop yawning in our faces, Ruadh. Stop it. But yeah, I had a nice week with my little dog. I took him for walks. I gave him food. The dogs are so like, dogs will just eat and eat and eat if you allow them to. They will stare at you. You could give them food. You could give them food right before you eat. You could give them more than enough food, and they would still stare at you with their big eyes. They'll come up to you. And like, you're like trying to enjoy your dinner, and they're just like, food. Give me food. And you're like moving around, and they're just like, food. Food. Ah. You better get some rest. I got good. Maybe my sleep wasn't the best because I was kind of waking up to the dog, the dog kind of moving around. That's what makes them so annoyingly endearing. It does. They are very persistent animals. You need to be stringent with them. If your pet is being bold, you need to tell them, no, stop that, stop it now. Bad boy, or girl. Bad girl. No. Wait. Oh fuck. Shit. Okay, some of you may have gotten very happy about that. You are welcome. It was not intentional. You're the type of player who moves your whole body with your controller, as if it was actually work. I do that sometimes too. Sometimes I'd be playing a game, and if I get like shot in the face, especially if it's like a bow and arrow, if it's like a medieval game and it's like a crossbow or something, and you see it flying at your face, I will like violently throw myself back, making you feel some type of way. Oh no. I do want to do an ASMR, like a proper ASMR stream soon, though. I must say, I want to do one. I don't know. Probably. I could even do one tonight. Maybe I get reading and do my actual thing in the next 5 minutes, and then I can do like proper ASMR where I'm like whispering into your guys' ears, and I don't know, like praising you and telling you how much of a good job you're doing. Someone clip it. No, Fox, don't clip that. No, I'm a say-so streamer. I can't be saying that type of stuff. I can't be caught saying that type of stuff. That doesn't work that way. I don't know. A part of me does think, like, if I just add those as triggers, it probably is good from a viewership perspective, from like a, casting as big a net audience-wise to do that type of thing. It does. It could just be like, maybe I am comfortable with it. I just like I shy away from doing it. Like maybe I'm overhyping how uncomfortable I'd feel doing it regularly. I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe I should give it a try. Maybe next stream I will have it as a redeem, and we just see how it goes. Okay, we just see how it goes. Say so is so 2023. First hour, good luck. First hour just closes the stream the first time someone. To be fair, I do that as well. No, stop, first hour. No, no, no. I hope it goes well if you try something new. This is the time to experiment. I suppose so. Yeah. You know, new year, new Rua. New year, new Rua. Oh God, man! I have to find some Rudolph. I have to find some Rudolph antlers and like a big red nose to put on my model, so I can be Rudolph. It's Rudolph. We don't say the A in my name. I know most people would refer to me as Rua, like R-U-A, as like shorthand, and you know obviously it's Rua. But what will 2025 say about 2024 Rua? It's more like what will 2024 Rua could call 2025 Rua a whore. If I go down that route, if I go deep down that route, 2024 Rua would be very disappointed. I just go, Rudolph the red-haired Fenian had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other Fena used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rua play in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, I'm just gonna sing the song. Wait, I miss. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide our sleigh tonight? Then all the reindeer loved him, and they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. Hey. Should I do like ASMR singing sometime, where I sing like little lullabies and things like that? I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know. May your days be merry and bright, and oh god, I have the Critical Role version stuck in my head. To be fair, better doing what you feel comfortable doing. New content just for the sake of attracting more viewers is cringe. Your vibe is really cool, so don't feel you need to change anything. The unsay-so comments is more to tease me. I know. I am open for trying different things and just seeing, like, you know, is it uncomfortable for me to do it simply due to unfamiliarity with that type of content, or is it you know, am I genuinely, like, would I genuinely be put off from really trying it? For the Sims? Do I have Sims? I'm sure there's one person. That's a good clip. That's a good clip. I'm sure people will be mighty happy with that. Mightily happy. Wait, how do I get my thing back? Hello, Yui Bars. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the first time chat. We definitely need a Christmas karaoke night. I definitely think we should do a Christmas karaoke night. I think they're a lot of fun, and I think we'd all enjoy it. Well, welcome in, Yui Bars. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful night or day. Maybe you're watching ASMR in the middle of the day, and you're like, you know what, work or school, fuck it, I'm gonna go to sleep on the desk, on the bench. Do you guys ever fall asleep in school or like at work? I have fallen asleep. Sort of like I managed to disguise it sometimes by what you do is you pick the angle. Ideally you're in a side, like the side wall seat, or like you're not facing anyone. But if someone's kind of like at the top, you kind of like you put your hands you put your hand it works if you're reading, if you're meant to be doing reading. You put your hand on the desk, put your hand over your eyes and look down. You'll be fine. You always fall asleep at school. Based. Do focus on your education. It's important. But, sometimes it can be good to get the rest. Good evening. Good evening, Crespian _C. How are you? How's Crespian? I hope you're doing very, very well. But yeah, I want to do a Christmas karaoke night soon. I am part of. I do want to say I am. I need to do my part. But I am part of Professor Bloom's. Oh God, wait. What's his full name again? Yeah, it's Bloom. Yeah. I thought there was something else added on to it, but I was wrong. Professor Bloom's kind of Christmas karaoke thing. Not Christmas karaoke, sorry, his Christmas choir. I think that's gonna be a ton of fun. A ton of fun. It's basically where we're all gonna send in kind of, audio and video of us singing this song. It's a really lovely song. I've never heard of it, but I think it could be fun. I know he's also planning on doing like a karaoke relay at some point, so maybe I try that. Teachers wouldn't dare wake you up because they love you. Okay, you know what? If they love you, that must mean you're a good student. So that's good. The solstice is even closer. Ah, that's true. Is anything spooky gonna happen on the solstice? I don't know. Although it's getting so dark so late, or so early. It's like I go for a walk at my usual time and it's like midnight, or it feels like it's midnight. What is the author cooking today? Well, actually, you know what? Speaking of authory stuff, I should. No, Jim, stop. No. Yeah, stop poking me. Wait, no, I did the wrong thing. And thank you for the follow. UA. Don't you stare at me. You can't just poke me in the face. And then oh, okay. Now I'm happy. You can't just poke me in the face and then give me big googly eyes. It's not fair. Okay? Because then I can't get angry with you. Okay. Now I'm happy. Thank you. Thank you for the face hold. And thank you for the head pats. And thank you for the hydrate as well, Yue. I have some tea here. It's cold. Oh no. It's cold tea. I'm very upset. I don't have much water either. Hang on. Yes, I am out of water. Give me a moment, please. I will go retrieve some water. Where's my BRB? Do I not have... Wait. What's this text? Nope, that's not that one. It's not that one. Why do I just not have... Where's my BRB? You have smooth skin. We want to touch. No touch. No touch. No touch. No. No touch. No. Bad touch. No touching. No touching, Rua. No touching, Rua. How dare you. I was sure you'd have Guinness. I have drunk Guinness. I remember I was made to down a Guinness in about 6 seconds. It was about, I want to say about a little bit over 3/4 of the whole pint. I did not have a good day that day. Well, a good 5 minutes. Well, let's just say a good 2 minutes after drinking that. It was no longer in my stomach. God, oh, it was horrible. Like, I'm not a big stout fan in general. Being made to, yeah, they did the whole is bitter, it's too strong for you. I'm more of a whiskey or like a bourbon type of person. I like sometimes they'll give it to you in a nice glass and like you have to stop them pouring in any kind of mixer and you're like no 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 no, give me it, give me it, give me it straight. But I they did that thing where we go, we like to drink with Rua because Rua is our mate, and when we drink with Rua, he downs it in 8. That's the thing. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you need to down it. I remember a friend told me a secret to really impress everyone is because people will start doing that usually after they're all locked and after way too much drink anyway, is start drinking like halfway through the very beginning when they're like, we like to drink with Rua because, and then you start drinking, and by the time you've hit like they've started counting, you're already like nearly done, and then you finish at like 6 and everyone's like, whoa, oh my god, it's so crazy. Despite alcohol being stronger alcohol, it's rounder, the taste is more pleasant. I just like, yeah, I do like the taste, but I'm not someone who's like, yes, I can taste the hints of the hops and the barleys and the death. The death of this drink is quite magnificent, I must say, quite magnanimous. That's actually super smart and sneaky. He then immediately demonstrated it because I guess he was anticipating it because a group of people did it to him, like a group of people that like we kind of knew, and he did exactly that, and they were all like, "Whoa, that's crazy!" And I was like, "That's genius. I'm stealing that next time." You probably just have to be careful not to start it too quickly, but like it's pretty smart, I have to say. I think it's more just like everyone's hyped up, so they're like, "Hell yeah, hell yeah." But yeah, I don't drink too much, I must say. maybe as I'm Irish, maybe some of you don't believe me, but I don't drink too much. Okay, you know what? I feel like I'm a little bit close to you guys. I'm gonna back up slightly, just to like here, and then we can start on. No, wait, I want to show my whole hand. There we go. There we go. I think it might be time. Leather notes and tree bark and pine. All you taste is the alcohol. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Like people be silly. And that reminds me, there's this fucking YouTube ad that's like actually annoying me so much. It's like that one where it's like it's some kind of tree sap or like pine tar soap. But it's just like the ads are the most annoying things. 'Cause it's always like you want to smell like a real man, or it's like a woman's voiceover being like, my boyfriend stinks, ugh, yuck, and then I got him this, and it's like, oh my god, shut the fuck up. I want to strangle all of you who are involved in this ad. They're just annoying because they are the most basic adverts. There's no real attempt. Like as annoying as the Raid Shadow Legends stuff can be, I have to say their adverts of like their 3D is insane. So I don't know how they can. I don't know like where they get the funding for that. Backing away from the lie of not drinking a lot. I do drink. I do drink. But, like, I'm not someone who is drinking even every weekend. I just, it's good on the wallet not to do that. Because you could very easy to burn through your, the week's pay. Oh, hi, Raccoon Senpai. Yeah, we love our raccoons here. We love our raccoons. I saw a fox recently. I was walking my dog and I saw the fox run across the road, and I had to brace and lock down my legs and core because he tried to take off. I grabbed him. I was like, "No, don't you dare!" He sort of like almost choked himself on the lead because he went to run and he was like, "Ugh." Gotta remember to give her big juicy apples. I will remember that, Clever. I will remember, and I will get those apples. As a man, you always want to smell like a pine forest on fire in winter, or whatever smell they decided was considered manly enough. Clearly, we should all be smelling like the oil between, or like you just finished an oil change, and you're like covered in it because it overflowed. Overflowing oil. That's the new scent of man. That's how you overflowing oil specifically. That's what the women want. That's what the women's want. I know women, and they want you to smell like an oil, like an oil barrel. You were just looking around. You smell like coconut or ocean. I have. You were just looking around. Well, what's that in relation to, Fox? I'm confused. Um, that's exactly what we want. You have a husky. He dragged you on gravel more than once because of squirrels or raccoons. I love huskies. They're so cute. They're so cute. The fox you saw. Oh. What are you doing, sneaking around? You're lucky I grabbed my doggo. He was gonna run after you. He was gonna run after you. Let's show him again. Hang on. No, I don't have the image. I have to drag it in again. There he is. That's him. That's him under the blankets of the couch we were lying on together. He was resting his head on my legs. Well, he was resting his whole body kind of like beside me, and kind of was just like had his head kind of like turned to the side. And then I lifted it up, and he lifted his head and looked at me. He's a very cute boy. Very cute. You were going to end up as a chew toy. I think she's already Wolf's chew toy, so that's another streamer. Driving, so you're slow. Ah, yeah, no worries. Please be careful, Fox. Please be careful driving and typing. But what was I going to say? I had something in mind I was going to say. Man, I wanted to read today. It's already been 40 minutes. But there was something in my head. Something in my head I wanted to say. Oh, yes, I remember now. I remember. It was it had to do with the fact that Clever, you said you usually smell like coconuts or ocean. I have this coconut it's coconut hand cream, and then also moisturizer. And it's really nice. It's a really nice smell. I use it. He is your chew toy. You know what? That makes more sense. He does seem like the type to be. I was thinking about the fact that he will sometimes call people his chew toy. But you know what? When it comes to you two, yeah, no, I can see him being the chew toy. Be gentle. Don't break him. As much. King of being sidetracked. Consider it side quests. Yeah, I'm just getting extra experience points. That's all it is. I'm leveling up my adjacent skills. He's so cute. Sorry, I'm just admiring the dog. He's so cute. He's such a good boy. He's simultaneously really smart and really dumb, and I feel like that's most dogs. But yeah, I quite like coconut smelling things. Did Haru have a coconut-based moisturizer? I think he did. I think he had something. Remember, like, loads of the Awumfis, which is Haru Mizuki's name for his fan base, were like trying to figure out what he smells like, because he is a much more effeminate man, shall we say, and he focuses a lot on hygiene and things. Smells like coconuts. Well, I try to anyway. Well, not that I try to, but coconut's a nice smell. It's a nice smell. I think I need to get a new one though. It's running out. I need to get more Bam too. Anyway, enough about how I smell or how Haru Mizuki smells. You can be my XP bag. What does that mean? You need to get. Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you, UA. Hang on a moment. You just did your whole skincare routine? I got my water. Thank you. Hang on. You wouldn't mind being the NPC giving me side quests? Can I go to you guys and be like, give me a quest? And then you guys give me like the most basic fetch quests. Or I could be like, you guys could do like NPC protection quests where I just kind of like follow you around. I just walk beside you. Isn't that just BFE? That would be a really funny ASMR. That would be a really funny ASMR script. Not even BFE, it's just ASMR you NP. You pay the player character to walk with you or to give you personal attention. There's no goal. We're just window shopping. I'm just accompanying you. Just a little stroll. That'd be funny. Okay, I might do. That's gotten in my head now as an ASMR script, or even just a role play. Player character, you pay player character to protect you on your market day. I don't know. A better script writer than I can come up with it. So tired you forgot how to type. Well, you know what? Let me get into what I was intending to do, and we'll see if maybe I can help you guys relax and go to sleep, or just chill out for a little bit. Boyfriend, companion for rent NPC. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm picturing. What the listener would be, and then the player character comes up, and maybe maybe he comes up all like in a hurry. He's like, oh, just goddamn stupid side quests. I have to do like 5 of these just so I can become the Thane of, I don't know, Solitude or something, or Whiterun. You know, it's Skyrim, and it's like he at first he's like really gruff and kind of rough about like being the companion for rent, and then like he realizes, no, it's not finishing, it's not completing at all. Like it's still at 0%, and he has to like slowly pull back and be like, I don't know, I don't know, what would he do? He'd be like, he's like commenting on your like basic NPC scripting. Wow, your scripting is so good. Look at you walk from, I always admire how you walk from stall to stall and stand there and just kind of go through that really basic animation of you looking at things and then walk away, never buying things. I don't know. I feel like if you spend a bit of time working on things, it could actually be very silly and very funny. I had to collect 25 pages of that bloody grimoire for a witch in that faraway village. Sorry, I was late to our date. Okay, I might do that in the, like, not in the background, but I might like try start like coming up with little lines and things for that type of idea. I kind of want to do that now. That just seems so silly. I might do it as like a practice run on a stream, and then maybe do it as a video. I don't know. Maybe I should get into making videos, ASMR videos, where I just give attempts at scripts and things. I'd have to learn about video editing and like sound effects and things, but I don't know. Could be a fun little project. Anyway, because I want to get some kind of reading done today, we're going to get back into the book we're reading. Excuse me. Your voice is already relaxing. Just keep yapping, sir. I do find my yapping streams tend to be well received, so thank you so much. Each page you get, you have to go back and give it to her to get a clue in the place where you find the next one. That would be so long. That would be that just allows me to have like so many. No reading is going to be done today. No, let me read my book. My book. Let me read. Because then you guys can go eepies. You guys can go eepers. Sleepers. And the missile is eepy. He is very tired from splashing bandits and needs to eep. Anyway. I do want to get some bit of reading done today because this is quite a big book and I think it's going to take me another like 10 streams to get through it. Next stream is going to be NPC quests. Next stream is probably going to be Baldur's Gate, so it probably will just be NPC quests. Just an actually well-made game. Rather than my, like, ramblings. With this voice in your ears, you're not going to eat. No, I want you guys to go to sleep. I want you guys to be relaxed. Baldur's Gate, yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 specifically. I decided to do a playthrough of that game as not one of the first playthroughs in my stream, but I was like, oh no, let me play it. Let me see what it's like. You know, all this hype. I didn't realize I was going to be like 30 plus streams and only just entering Act 3. And apparently that's like as long as Act 1 and 2, or like Act 1.5. Which is great. Great. It's gonna take me like another 20 streams to finish that playthrough. Sign you up right now. Well, you are followed, so maybe when I play it again. I think last time you have 400 hours in that game. I can definitely see that. I probably have way more hours in it as well if I didn't just play it during streams, because I want to save like the reactions and things. But god, that game is long. But yeah, you can look forward to that. I got banished by that djinn who was like giving away prizes, and got banished to like a dangerous place. And I was a bard. My character is a bard, so I had to fight my way out. I had to fight my way out against like 6 of those dinosaurs as a bard alone. That was one of the more intense fights that I done. I won though. I did win. I think it was always very close to death a lot of the time, because like if I got surrounded, a bard, how very Irish of me. I was a fella, which is the old Irish term for not necessarily bards, more poets, learned men during kind of the early times. You're gonna stop yapping and focus on my voice to fall asleep? No worries, baby. Well, just a baby. Just a... Does that remind me of not Justin Bieber. There's something I just can't think of it, but just a baby. Go have a nice cozy eat. And I think I am going to get into the book reading, which we've been doing. The Theological Origins of Modernity by Michael Allen Gillespie. My model does look like a bard. A poet. Go figure. Hang on, I am specifically a warrior scholar of the Fianna, old Irish group. This is the full. Hang on, let me show you guys some of you who may be new. Let me show you the full model. Wait, full model. There we go. My mama and papa went sicko mode. I can also take this off, and I can take this off. This doesn't come off. Do not ask. Billy the Bucket already tries to take this off every stream. So handsome and so pretty. Thank you. Hang on, let me zoom at you at hyperspeed. Zoom. Right, that might be too close. There we go, perfect. He does. He comes into my stream and he types exclamation marks shirtless. And that's all that happens. Nothing happens. I don't really have much of a base, but yeah, thank you. I do love it. My mama and papa went insane on this model. So good. I told you, nothing happens. It does not work. You want to try too? I'm sure many people might want to try. But I keep getting sidetracked. All that side quest experience. Thank you, Mama and Papa. I need to set up a redeem that allows me to just quickly go like exclamation, like, you know, command Mama, command Papa. But it's you know, I'm just gonna quickly throw it in because I haven't done that in a little bit. Bald? No, don't make me bald. I don't want to be bald. Let me just quickly do this. That's my mama. And Marburg. That's my papa, my rigger. So yeah, you can thank them for bringing me to life. Now where was I? Ah, here we are. So we're you'll go see their art. Enjoy. It's really good. My mama is a big fan of very handsome men, and I think she used that to create me. When we finalized on the face shape and the eye shape, I remember she made some art of some guy that she really likes. I think it was Zhang Li from some game. I think that was his name. I was like, I really like how you did his eyes. Can you draw that like me? I think something clicked in her brain, and she was like, okay, sure. I like gave her free reign to just go like, hey, just make me pretty. Hello D. How's my favorite angel girl doing? Hello D. Based mama, exactly. I love that emote so much. It's such a cute wave emote, the little heart. It's very sweet. There has been no reading done since the start of this stream, D. I've just been talking away. You love their art? Yeah, she's really good. She's really good. You should see Dee's art as well. Dee's a really good artist. She did her own. She did her own model, and she's doing like loads of other people. So you guys should definitely go check her out. Yap King. Not really. Like I usually stream for maybe like 3 hours at most, and there are people like Haru, Mizuki, who I mentioned earlier, or Diamandis, who can go on for hours and hours. My friend Magino, actually, another streamer, is doing like these one-on-one talks with people. So I'd love to. Oh no, I think yeah, he did message me about doing it. So I might be on like a Magino podcast, like the Joe Rogan podcast. How would you guys feel if you like clicked on Joe Rogan's podcast one day and it's like, we're here with Ruadh Quilta? Why I would ever be on Joe Rogan's podcast, I have no idea. But like, it like cuts from Joe to like the other side of the table, and it's just like a cardboard cutout of me. Your mama gave you a nose. We love noses. Oh, hello, Algonis. Welcome in. How you doing? Zachu streams are always nice. Your mama gave you a nose. We love noses. We are very pro nose in this chat. Instant jump scare. I have a honey voice. I have a nose and a honey voice apparently. So yeah. Wait, hang on. I can do a better wink than that. No, it's not tracking my eye perfectly. Close, damn you. Why is it bouncing up? There we go. That was okay. I'll have to go back. I'll like have to calibrate it or something. Hi, Alconus. I hope you're doing well. But yeah, you don't see noses very often. What you'll see is like lines, and even a lot of the corpo tubas have this as well. They'll just have kind of like a line that kind of just has like a little shadow. I have noses, and people try and poke it, and I have to dodge. I have to be like that movie, Dodgeball, where they talk about dodging balls. You know, I have to duck, dip, dive. No, I have to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. You guys trying to poke me, so I get much practice. It's difficult to draw noses in anime style and have them still look cute. That is true. I don't like, you know, that there's a clear limitation in that. Like sometimes I have seen noses, or I've seen like they'll give like a big triangle and it can almost like dominate the face, especially when it turns left and right. It kind of just like it kind of just can come off awkwardly. You're saving up for poking. Many people do. Often there's a little goblin that's running around here trying to poke me. Big schnoz. Those schnozzes. We should make a corpo. Corpo. The schnozzers. No. D. How dare you? No. No. Oh, fuck. I leaned into that one. The very last one caught me like on the side of the nose. My nose is bruised now. How dare you hurt me? Very rude. Yay! She got me square on the nose. I need to add in another thing that allows you guys to head pat little Ruru over there. Your model is enjoying it. That doesn't mean I'm enjoying it. It's just like, oh, yo. Sneezers. 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 I can picture that being like a group, like a fan name. Yo, what up, Sneezers? How's it going? I chew you too, bros. Welcome back to another Schnoz Incorporated stream. For some reason, they're all like really extreme VTubers. They say bro and brah a lot, and they shout into the microphones on it suddenly. I chew you too, yeah. Chew you. I'll chew you later, bro. I'll chew you later. This is so dumb. I think you could. What if you had a VTuber corpo that was like the body? Like every VTuber was like a different body part. So you had like foot tubers. No, wait, hang on. That's a terrible idea. That might be a great idea, but like it's not a good idea if you get what I mean. It's like you instantly instantly there's a certain fan base. I mean, why would you? I was just thinking. But you could have like, no, not even. Oh, the more I think about it, the worse this gets. Like you have lips tubers, you have eye tubers, and you know what? Some of the angel VTubers are like that. They're just a bunch of eyes. They're scary. D has a like real biblically accurate form, and it scares me. You could have chest tubas. You could have. Well, I feel, you know what? There's already enough tubas that have massive chests that I think they're more chest than they are body. So I think you can probably say that niche has already been taken. Your circle form. That's totes rad, bro. You'll blow the audience's snot off with that one. Hang on, let me try and do that as a voice. That's totes rad, bro. You'll blow the audience's snot off with that one. I gotta step away for a second. do you guys like my, like, is that California? Is that what that voice is? I don't know what American voice that is. You guys like my surfer bro accent? Why I'm like destroying you guys' picture of me? You could put the parts together like Mr. Potato Head. That's kind of like what I was imagining. Like they all do collabs together, and they become different groups. They be you could have like a head stream, a leg stream, collab streams. I don't know. This is a terrible idea. No one take these ideas. There's a reason I'm not in a corpo. There's a reason I don't run a corpo. You'll never see me the same way. First stream, I gain a viewer and lose a viewer. That's exactly how I want things to be. Do you unlock the Exodia model when the corpo does a collab? Yeah. The right arm of Schnoz Incorporated. The left arm of Schnoz Incorporated. I don't know what happens when you get Exodia on stream. I think it's probably it's probably just like brain damage. To be honest, soon he's gonna have a surfer outfit. Yeah, bro. Don't you want to go grab some gnarly raves? I'm about to go into a completely different scenario. I'll strip into some shorts, bro, and we can grab our surfboards and... I can't get the voice again. I wanted to do my reading stream. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna rename this stream because I don't think I'm getting any reading done today. Stop, please. You're begging me. Stop giving me scenarios. Stop giving me scenarios. Whoa, bro, you totally just wiped out, brah. Brah, you okay? That was great. That was sick, brah. As long as you rename it back to reading. I name it like Surfer Ruadh. Your ears? Oh no, it might be too loud. I'm sorry, guys. My microphone is really weird. If I talk like slightly too loud, it just explodes. Maybe I should put... Wait, do I not have a limiter on this? I thought I did. I should have a limiter. I'm going to turn that down to like 4... Let me turn it down to about 5 decibels just to try and help with that a little bit. So it's not too bad. Surfer boyfriend POV. Surfer Ruadh. If I can get good at that voice, I might do like Surfer Ruadh sometime. But you know what? The summer is long away, so I don't think we're gonna be getting that. We will at some point get Rudolph. Again, I am avoiding adding the A in there. American Surfer POV. Yeah, that's my is that a West Coast accent? Like I guess it's just like, to me, that's like my attempt at the stereotypical surfer bro, which I assume is West Coast. I don't know. Maybe I should like spend some more time. I'll practice that voice. I'm gonna add that as a redeem. I'm not good enough for that type of stuff. But anyway, you know what? This is a big book, and I do want to get back into it. You have no idea. You never went to America. I think I'm just like basing this off of the most like stereotypical thing I can think of. As soon as you rename, it's back to reading. Yeah, I was about to rename, but like I'm gonna get into the reading now because it's been a little bit, and I do want to actually at least get some form of a dent into this book. So I'm gonna take a sip of water. And we will get back into our book. So we're looking at the Theological Origins by Michael Allen Gillespie, who, just as a quick refresher, thank you, Dee, for the head pat. Very sweet of you. Very sweet. As a quick refresher, he basically argues that all of modern thought can be drawn back to the debate between the nominalists and the realists in their discussion of the universals in the church around the kind of late medieval period. When last we left off, we did kind of a deep dive into Petrarch, and we looked at the rise of humanism, from his thought, kind of looking at man as a wholly independent being, a willful being, as one of the answers, as one of the ways to try and answer this new problem of the nominalist God. And now we get into it a little bit further, kind of looking specifically at humanism. So, Chapter 3, Humanism and the Apotheosis of Man. Petrarch and the Origins of Humanism. It is difficult today to appreciate the impact Petrarch had on his contemporaries, in part because we find it so difficult to appreciate his impact on us. Petrarch is scarcely remembered in our time. There are very few humanists or academics who can name even one of his works, and none of his Latin works makes it on a list of great books. And yet, without Petrarch, there would be no humanists or academics, no great books, no book culture at all, no humanism, no Renaissance, and no modern world as we have come to understand it. Why then have we forgotten him? Several factors contribute to his oblivion. The neglect of Latin literature, as literary scholars have increasingly focused on national literatures, changing scholarly tastes and fashions, and the fact that one of his works falls outside familiar genres, or that many of his works fall outside. But the real cause lies deeper. Petrarch seldom tells us anything that we don't already know, and as a result he seems superfluous to us. But this is the measure of his importance. For what he achieved is now so universally taken for granted that we find it difficult to imagine things could have been otherwise. After his death, Petrarch was the most famous private man in Europe, or at the time of his death, and during the next 150 years, his fame and influence continued to grow and spread. You know, there's actually an interesting fact. I believe that, obviously, other than Latin and Greek, Irish is actually one of the oldest vernacular languages in all of Europe. I believe it may be the third oldest in Europe. Written vernacular language, and of course it is a very old language as well. You have very old Irish, like kind of proto old Irish, basically. Then you have old, middle, and kind of early Irish, and then develops into full Irish. But for whatever reason, the monks in Ireland started writing in Irish as glosses alongside texts of Bibles or stories of saints and things, or various law books. Just interesting little fact when I talked about kind of focus on national literatures. In part, this was certainly the result of his masterful command of language and his ability to move the human heart, but this cannot be the whole story. Dante had written vernacular poetry a generation before that was widely admired, but he did not inspire generations of imitators. Petrarch's impact was more the result of the fact that he offered a new vision of how to live in a Christian world, caught in the tremendous spiritual crisis brought about by the nominalist revolution and the cataclysmic events of the 14th century. A Christian world turned inward by the failure of the Crusades and the looming threat of a rejuvenated Islam in both the East and the West. The Petrarchian project rested on the assertion of the ontic priority of individual human beings and the assertion that the search for the meaningful human life begins with an examination of human individuality. Petrarch was able to make this vision concrete and attractive by displaying to the public his own inner life as well as those of the astonishing array of ancient personalities, quite different from the saints and martyrs who guarded all the entryways into the cathedral of Gothic Christianity. In this way, Petrarch set his contemporaries on a twofold journey. The first phase of this journey led inward to the unexplored territory. Wait, where was I? To the unexplored territory of a self filled with passions and desires that were no longer something mundane and unspiritual that had to be extirpated or constrained, but that were instead a reflection of each person's individuality, and that consequently deserved to be expressed, cultivated, and enjoyed. The second phase of the journey led back to an ancient, but now suddenly relevant past filled with courageous and high-minded individuals who had won fame and a kind of immortality by cultivating their own individuality. Moreover, these two journeys were connected, for it was through the exploration and appreciation of the biographies of the great men of antiquity that one could begin to understand how to give shape to one's own individuality, and thereby lead not merely a pious but a noble life, a life worthy of being remembered. He showed that immortality did not merely belong to the saints and martyrs, but also to all those who emulated men like Scipio, Cicero, Homer, Virgil, Socrates, and Plato, the warriors, statesmen, artists, and philosophers who had created and sustained the Greek and Roman worlds. Was a debate discussed in this book taking place around the 16th century? Just by the title, you assume it happened around the Enlightenment. It was prior to then. It would have been around the 14th, I want to say. If I remember, I believe it's the 14th. It's late medieval. So Michael Allen Gillespie would argue that the Enlightenment comes out of this debate. It stems, like, you can trace all of modern thought, and obviously in this case we're looking at humanism, kind of the priority or the importance of the individual on kind of this debate here. But you can trace other things such as the rise of scientism, of materialism, of kind of atheism as well, he argues, of Protestantism. So yeah, a whole lot of things. Where were we? Oh yeah. What lies concealed behind these fabulous examples is the idea that individual human beings and their goals matter, that they have an inherent dignity and worth. This assertion was revolutionary and stood in stark opposition to the regnant doctrine of original sin and the fall, which denied that individuals had either an intrinsic value or a capacity for self-perfection. It was this Petrarchian notion of the ontic priority and value of the individual human being that became the guiding light of the humanist project and that made the Renaissance in the modern world possible. The humanist project was prefigured in Petrarch's aspiration to combine Christian piety with Roman virtue under the rubric of Platonism. While Petrarch himself was never able to achieve these goals, those who followed in his wake redoubled their efforts to bring it to completion. As we will see, however, synthesizing such disparate elements was a difficult task, and required humanists to rethink not merely what it meant to be moral, but also what it meant to be Christian. Italian humanists focused more on Roman models, and they were pulled increasingly towards a heroic and ultimately Promethean individual that required an ever greater emphasis on a Neoplatonic interpretation of Christianity that de-emphasized the fall in favor of the view of man as the imago Dei. Oh god, I think Tallies had told me how to pronounce that properly. Dei, I think it might be imago Dei. As a result, Italian humanists found it increasingly difficult to maintain the separation of God and man. Northern humanists had a less exalted view of human capacities, but they too emphasized the importance of the moral life. Their model for such a life, however, was not Scipio, Cicero, or Caesar, but Christ. They thus did not seek greatness or glory, but decency and dignity through the practice of simple Christian charity. In contrast to their Italian compatriots, Northern humanists did not imagine that man could thereby become God, but they did imagine that man's free will could play an important role in determining whether or not he would be saved. While they thus did not fall into Prometheanism, they did often come very close to Pelagianism. However, neither of these forms of humanism was able to forestall the rise of a more ardent evangelical Christianity that turned away from the humanist synthesis of Christian piety, Roman morality, and Platonism to an apocalyptic theology that shook Europe to its core. The term humanism was first used by the 19th century scholars to name the Renaissance system of education based on the classics. They drew on the 15th century term humanista, referred to those who studied classical literature and philosophy in the Studia Humanista, or Studia Humanitist, not with a view to understanding God or generating a theology, but in order to understand what it meant to be human and how human beings ought to live. Humanism thus was understood as a comprehensive system of education and training that put great emphasis on the human individuality, human dignity, and the privileged place of the humans in the universe. Humanism was thus not simply a philosophy, but was a comprehensive cultural movement that included poetry, art, literature, history, and moral philosophy. Let me just see if there's any... there's a note earlier about Petrarch and his influence. One measure of his influence was his impact on his contemporaries. At the time, Boccaccio met Petrarch. He was certainly the greatest living writer of Italian. He fell so quickly and fully under Petrarch's spell that he thereafter wrote almost exclusively in Latin and began to study Greek. Petrarch had similar effects on many during the late 14th and 15th centuries. Petrarch's own description of the effect his work on his contemporaries is telling. Within our memory, it was rare enough for people to write verses, but now there is no one who does not write them. A few indeed write anything else. Some think that the fault, as so far as our contemporaries is concerned, is largely mine. I fear that the reproaches of an aged father, who unexpectedly came to me, with a long face and almost in tears, may not be without foundation. While I, he said, have always honoured your name, see the return you make in compassing the ruin of my only son. I stood for a time in embarrassed silence, for the age of the man and the expression of his face, which told great sorrow, went to my heart. Then, recovering myself, I replied, as was quite true, that I was unacquainted with either him or his son. What matters it? The old man answered. Whether you know him or not, he certainly knows you. I have spent a great deal in providing instruction for him in the civil law, but he declares he wishes to follow your footsteps. My fondest hopes have been disappointed. If I venture into the street, wild fellows rush up from every side and seize upon me, asking advice, giving me suggestions, disputing and fighting among themselves. If this disease spreads, I am undone. And that was Petrarch's own words, apparently. Sounds like he was a modern celebrity. I feel like I can never tell if my volume is loud enough or not. I feel like this might be a little... Oh, that might be too high now. Is that maybe better? Yeah, I think that's better. We are prone to see such claims as self-serving, but in Petrarch's case, the evidence of his influence is so massive that if anything, his comments understate the impact he had on his age. Without Petrarch, the poetry of Aristo, Tasso, Chaucer, Shakespeare, and Donne, to mention only the most famous, would be inconceivable. And then there's a further note here. There was no humanist philosophy in the narrow sense before Nicholas of Cusa, 1401 to 64. Those scholars, such as Cassirer, who see humanism as a metaphysical or philosophical alternative to scholasticism, typically explain earlier humanist thought as proto-philosophical. On the opposite extreme, some scholars argue that it is a mistake to understand humanism in philosophical terms at all. In fact, both schools go astray because they operate with displaced notions of philosophy. The former understands philosophy as a perspective of Cartesianism, and the latter the perspective of scholasticism. By either of these standards, humanism is not a philosophy. What I want to suggest is that humanism represents a philosophical position that is neither Cartesian nor scholastic. Okay. Don't think there's too many notes in this chapter, it seems. It was just some long ones. Where was was I? Ah, yes. While everyone agrees that humanism drew its inspirations from Petrarch, many believe that it also owed a great deal to an older Italian tradition of letter writing and public oratory. Medieval civilization had never penetrated Italy as deeply as it had the rest of Europe. There was a persistent and idiosyncratic Italian tradition that went back to late Roman times, expressed in art and poetry, lay education, legal terms, grammar, and rhetoric. The masters of these kinds of public speaking and writers were called dictatores. Petrarch's father was brought up in this tradition, and gave his son a similar education. It is also clear that many of his other early humanists were trained in this tradition. While no one really doubts that the earlier tradition played some role in the development of humanism, there is considerable debate about how important it actually was, since in contrast to the humanists, the dictatoros had little concern for antiquity. Those who see humanism as a mere extension of this tradition view the humanist concern with the ancients as merely a means of improving their own rhetorical art, and not as a fundamental reorientation of their goals and activities. They argue that humanists such as Salutati occupied positions identical to those dictatoros 150 years before. They also point to the fact that humanists typically held chairs in rhetoric and grammar rather than moral philosophy at university before the 15th century, and that they did not develop a metaphysics of their own. However, such arguments are not very convincing. While the humanist project may have grown out of the dictores tradition, it also clearly outgrew it. Not merely the humanists return to the ancients, but also in their goals and aspirations. Petrarch, for example, never called himself an orator, but referred to himself as either a moral philosopher or a poet. Furthermore, while the humanists did occupy positions of moral philosophy at the universities during the first part of the 14th century, this was almost certainly due to their rivals' monopolistic, or did not occupy, I should say, the monopolistic hold on such positions. Similarly, while early humanists did not develop a metaphysics, this had less to do with their disinterest in philosophy than in their preference for moral philosophy, and their distaste for the interminable metaphysical disputes that characterized scholasticism. Thus, while humanism was indebted to the dictores tradition, it clearly transcended it, and after Petrarch there can be no question that humanism had a goal different from that of their predecessors. Scholars have questioned why not only the origins, but also its meaning and significance of humanism. Since at least the time of Burckhardt and Nietzsche, humanism has been understood by one school as an anti-Christian revival of pagan antiquity, a turn from what Nietzsche called slave morality to the master morality of the Greeks and Romans. This view of humanism as anti-Christian came to be more broadly accepted in the 20th century, as humanism was increasingly identified as secular humanism. Seen in this light, humanism was widely attacked by both Catholics and Protestants as the harbinger of a secular and ultimately atheistic morality. The Thomist Etienne Gilson, for example, argued that humanism was in fact a rebirth of Epicureanism that was largely responsible for the rampant hedonism that he believed was undermining modern life. The Protestant theologian Reinhold Niebuhr, in a similar fashion, saw humanism as an attempt to put man rather than God at the center of things, exaggerating human capacities and particularly the power of the human will to achieve its own salvation. These opinions were broadly shared in the religious community. Excuse me a moment. have returned, and I accidentally took off my... I turned myself off again. I'm back now. Where were we? Oh yes, here we were. As humanism was increasingly criticized by the religious, it became increasingly attractive to a secularizing society as a possible foundation for moral and political life. Perhaps the dominant secular interpretation of humanism, first formulated by Hans Baron, associated humanism with a civic republicanism. This interpretation accepts the Nietzschean reading of humanism as essentially pagan, skeptical, secularizing, and anti-religious, but rejects his elitist conclusion that humanism is coterminous. I've never heard that word, even though I've read this book. Coterminous with tyranny. Instead, Baron and his followers see humanism, and particularly its emphasis on Roman virtue and civic life, as the foundation for the civic republicanism of Florence and other Italian states. The supporters of this interpretation see the humanists not as thinkers and artists living the vita the vita contemplativa, but as political actors focusing on the vita activa. They point to Salutati, Bruni, and Raccolini, all of whom were chancellors in the Florentine Republic, as well as to later humanists such as Guicciardini and, above all, Machiavelli, who not only served as second chancellor in Florence, but also developed a theory of republicanism on the Roman model and was responsible for the organization of the first Florentine Republican army. This view of humanism is particularly pronounced in Anglo-American scholarship that focuses on humanists' imitation and revival of ancient civic and republican structures and virtues, and on the impact of this republicanism on English and American institutions and practices. The idea that humanism is preemptly civic humanism, however, is mistaken and misleading. Civic humanism, or civic republicanism, did play a role in a number of Italian cities during this period, but it did not constitute the whole or even the principal part of the humanist movement. To see it as essential is to accept a historical myth propagated by the humanists themselves, who clearly knew that they were not pagans but Christians and as much members of the Republica Christiana as of their secular regimes. And even if one is willing to grant that this civic element may have played an important role in the Italian or at least Florentine humanism, and a derivative but still important role in the development of 17th and 18th century Anglo-American liberalism, in the 15th and 16th centuries, civic humanism was much less important in the rest of Europe, and almost certainly in Italy as well, than was Christian humanism. Those like Baron, who wanted to find a secular foundation for republican government that was not associated with a Lockean notion of rights, and with what they saw as a capitalist political economy, read too much into earlier humanist tradition. They thus overlooked the deep connection of humanism and Christianity. Christian humanism is typically associated with northern humanism, and Erasmus and Thomas More in particular. While they were indisputably Christian, it would be a mistake to believe that the earlier Italian humanists were not. The humanist vision of Christianity that developed in Italy was radically at odds with medieval and scholastic Christianity. It had little in common with either the Protestant or Catholic theology that developed in the struggles of the Reformation. But it was unquestionably Christian in its intentions, and as we shall see, it played an important, if often concealed, role in the development of Christianity from the 7th century onwards. How then ought we to understand the connection of humanism and Christianity? Although humanists almost universally rejected scholasticism, they were more equivocal about nominalism. Indeed, while they abandoned the nominalist method and language, they surprisingly held similar views on a number of matters. Building on the earlier work of Ernst Cassirer, scholars such as Gerald Siegel and Charles Thrinkos have argued quite cogently that the humanist enterprise was indebted to nominalism. While this is obvious in the case of Salutati and later thinkers such as Nicholas of Cusa, it is less evident in the case of Petrarch, whose thought was more or less contemporaneous with that of Occam and his immediate followers. Untangling this connection is made difficult by the fact that scholasticism was not nearly as strong and widespread in Italy as it was in the northern Europe in the 13th century. Indeed, scholasticism became prominent in Italy at about the same time as humanism. The Italian experience of scholasticism was thus markedly different from that of the rest of Europe. However, Trinkus and others have demonstrated that Italians were involved in the tense nominalist controversies of the early 14th century. They also suggest that Petrarch, Salutati, Baccolini, Ficino, etc. were responding to the philosophical and psychological dilemma that arose in the great debate between the realist scholastics and their nominalist opponents. We know that Petrarch was cognizant of the terminological arguments of the nominalists. Moreover, while he was Italian by birth and studied for a time in Bologna, he also spent a great deal of his early life in Avignon and had contacts with the scholastic community there. Finally, he and Salutati were both close to many Augustinians, such as Deoghi of Borgo San Sepolcro and Luigi Masoli, who were well acquainted with nominalism. Even if one rejects the notion that Petrarch was shaped by or was responding to nominalist thought, there is no question about the influence of nominalism on later humanist thoughts. The parallels are obvious. Ontologically, both nominalism and humanism reject realism in favor of individualism. Both also reject syllogistic logic. The nominalists seek to replace it with a logic of names and terms. Humanists turn to rhetoric. Theologically, both portray God as radically omnipotent and consequently reject rational theology in favor of Scripture. Both also draw heavily on Augustine. Cosmologically, both see the world as an immutable, not as an immutable natural order, but as a chaos of individual bodies in motion. Finally, both see human beings not as rational animals, but individual willing beings. In the political realm, they both also sought to develop more republican theories of authority. All of these similarities, however, might be simply accidental. Moreover, there are real and important differences between humanism and nominalism in all their different forms and permutations. To understand the connection of humanism and Christianity, we thus need to examine the development of humanism more carefully. Humanism from the beginning was a strange construction of what at times seemed to be incommensurable parts. The admiration of pagan antiquity, of its morals and political heroes, its arts and philosophy, its tragic literature and rhetorical practices, was not easily compatible with the original sin, adoration of martyrs, monastic withdrawal, Christian charity, the preeminence of scripture or asceticism, and it was always a struggle to hold the two together. As we saw in the last chapter, Petrarch admired... Oh god, I think... Sometimes I look up and I realize my eyes are kind of like blinking really fast because I'm looking down at the book. I hope it's not always doing that because I can't. I'm gonna try and look up, like kind of hold my book a little bit more up, and hopefully that doesn't do it too much. As we saw in the last chapter, Petrarch admired and praised the vita activa and the virtues needed to sustain it. But he also recognized the virtues of the vita contemplativa and practiced by the monks and developed a new vision of a secular private life with its own leisure for contemplation and creation. He thus sought to combine the active political life of the heroic Romans he so admired with the Augustinian Christianity he found so compelling. He was critical of corruption in the church, but he saw the source of this corruption not in Christian doctrine or in the institutional structures of the church, but in the weakness of human nature. He also doubted that human beings could live entirely secular lives. While he asserted in his most In his most secular work, Remedies for Fortune, Fair and Foul, that reason could play an important role in ameliorating human difficulties, he also recognized the solution to earthly problems could not be separated from the question of salvation. Finally, although he admired noble men such as Scipio and Cato, he never forgot that they were pagans, rejecting, for example, Cicero's teaching that virtue was in one's power, while fortune was in the hands of others. While Petrarch saw the necessity of reconciling pietas and humanitas, he was never able to bring them into a coherent synthesis. He did, however, set a goal that his successors in different ways tried to attain. As we noted above, the key to such a combination in his view was Platonism. What he actually imagined Platonism to be, however, was not entirely clear. Most of what he knew about Plato was he knew by second hand, principally from Cicero and Augustine. The fact that both of his spiritual mentors admired and drew on Plato apparently convinced him that a reconciliation of Christianity and paganism on a Platonic basis was possible. His actual knowledge of Plato, however, was quite limited, and his knowledge of the later developments of Platonism more limited still. All this notwithstanding, his humanist successors followed his lead in turning to Plato and Platonism in their efforts to reconcile Christian piety and Roman virtue. Hello, what's up? You just woke up and you saw I was streaming? Oh no, if you're gonna listen to me, you might just fall right back to sleep. And it's a Friday, you might need to get up early. Be careful, what's up? Don't fall asleep. I don't want to be the reason you're late to anything. But I hope you're doing well. Welcome in, welcome in. I would say get cozy, but maybe that's a bad thing. It's so easy to fall back to sleep. I say as I yawn. Humanists after Petrarch were less willing to praise or even accept monasticism and a number of other medieval religious practices, but they were not anti-religious or anti-Christian. They too sought to reconcile morality and piety. In attempting to balance these two elements, they typically relied upon a Neoplatonic reading of Christianity that saw man not as an irredeemably fallen creature, but as the imago Dei, in order to justify their vision of heroic individuality. However, this vision required them to de-emphasize original sin and the fall, that they were constantly in danger of falling into Pelagianism. But still, even at their most extreme, the humanists did not think of themselves as unchristian. This is surprising to us because we'd find it difficult to imagine that anyone could believe that such heroic or Promethean individuals could be good Christians, in large part because we associate Christianity with humility. We are thus prone to conclude that the Christianity of the Italian humanists was merely camouflage for their fundamentally anti-Christian goals. This conclusion, however, is mistaken. The humanists themselves were aware of this tension in their thought, but they thought that these different elements could be reconciled with one another, and thus did not believe they had to choose between Athens and Jerusalem, or between the city of God and the city of pagans. Very exhausted at the moment, so you fell asleep at around 8:30. Oh, it's almost midnight? You need to fall back asleep? Okay, what's up? Well, then do get cozy. Do get nice and cozy. Excuse me, I'm taking a quick drink. I hope you get the required eep that you need. What's up? It sounds like you had a very busy day. It is certainly true that the religious views of most humanists were quite different than those of their medieval predecessors, but this does not mean that they were any less Christian. Indeed, in many instances, they developed their beliefs and practices as a result of their disgust with medieval Christianity, and as a result of their efforts to recover a more original and authentic Christian practice. The humanists were convinced that the religious practices of their contemporaries was at best distorted images of genuine Christianity of Augustine and the other church fathers, and they blamed this distortion on the scholastic reliance on the pagan Aristotle and the Islamic Averroes. They believed that the key to reawakening genuine religiosity was to locate and root out these beliefs and practices in their historical and linguistic scholarship, increasingly revealed to be later additions to Christianity. This reformatory impulse was strengthened by the recovery of the works of Cicero, Seneca, and other Roman writers, as well as the dialogues of Plato, and other works in the later Neoplatonists. These works gave them an increasingly accurate picture of the intellectual environment within which Christianity first developed, and the ways in which ancient morality and metaphysical teachings had informed Christian belief and practice. Very cozy, got a new pillow and new duvet. Less busy day, more always tired due to meds. Oh, that sucks a little bit. But you know what? I'm glad you're super cozy. Get nice and snuggled under your bed. Pull your duvet tight around you. Sink into your pillows, and go to sleep. Okay, go back to sleep. Have nice, soft, gentle dreams. How long is this little chapter here? Because I might just do it there. I think all that talking at the beginning of the stream has led my voice to be a little bit more scratchier than usual, kind of early into the stream. Oh man, this section is long. Why is this like 40 pages of just Italian humanism? Did I look? Surely that's not all to do with the Italians. Okay. Let's make a dent into it anyway. I might do the next like 3 or 4 pages. Will do. You got a double bed, but a king-sized duvet, so it hangs off the side and makes the duvet heavier. Like a cheap knockoff weighted blanket. I need to try one of those. I need to try a weighted blanket, I think. Because I do get the idea. Like, you know, when I use like 2 blankets, like, and it's a little bit heavier, I do find, you know, you are cozier. It is nicer. I need to try one sometime. But that's a smart idea. That's a smart idea, I have to say. And the good thing as well is that, like, if it was cold, you could pull it up and kind of like tuck in your feet. Like, kind of wrap it around your body, so like all your heat's kind of kept in. It doesn't flow out the sides. From the very beginning, Italian humanism sought to reconcile Christian piety and ancient virtue. The leading humanist, the generation after Petrarch, was oh god, okay, I'm going to apologize for my butchering of names. Calosio Salutati, 1341 to 1406. As a young man, he was thought by Moglio, a friend of Petrarch, and then served as a papal secretary. In 1368, he began a correspondence with Petrarch. He was recalled to Florence in 1375 to serve as the chancellor of the Florentine Republic, and was one of the leading proponents of civic republicanism. Although he was mostly involved in civic matters, he wrote 2 short treatises on the fate and fortune, and on religion and flight from the world. Strongly influenced by Petrarch and by nominalism, he developed a concept of the individual that laid great emphasis on the power of the will. He drew on the pagan models in formulating his idea of the individual, and it was attacked by the Dominicans such as Giovanni Dominici for doing so. But the notion of the dignity of the individual that he developed on fate and fortune, for example, was clearly rooted in the idea of free will he derived from Augustine. He also condemned the Stoic belief that virtue was the only good and that emotions were unchristian and harmful. He rejected Aristotelianism on essentially nominalist grounds, but he also rejected the nominalist contention that God's omnipotence made all human freedom impossible. It is not surprising that the opponents on both sides of the debate considered him anti-Christian, but it would be a mistake to assume that their testimony was dispositive. In the 14th and 15th centuries, there is no single monolithic form of Christianity, but various kinds of Christian belief and practice. Christian humanism was certainly never the choice of a majority of Christians, but it was influential, especially among the intellectuals, and generally accepted as orthodox. They're great, but you have an 8 kg one and it was too heavy. You couldn't do stuff like roll over in it. What are you like? Are you training for the sleeping Olympics? An 8 kg blanket? Dude, what the fuck? That's way too big. That's way too heavy. The weighted beads had like squares they were supposed to stay in, but they kept slipping through and piling up in other squares, making it lopsided. Oh no, you're gonna get imbalanced. This seems to be working. You have a 5. See, 5 kg makes sense. I feel like just 8 kg, that's like kinda heavy for a blanket. For a blanket. I want to see, I want to get like a 20 kg blanket and put it over someone, and then just like, I can't move. Well, no, they'd be able to move in 20 kg, I think. I think. That seems like so heavy for a blanket, though. 5 kg seems good. It's supposed to be 10% of your body weight. Are you 50 kg, D? I could lift you above my head if you're 50 kg. I see, though. I'll keep that in mind when if I ever get a weighted blanket. Weight doxed. Oh no, you doxed your own weight. It was comically heavy. Your mum couldn't carry it. I feel like even though like 8 kg, I will say to me isn't heavy. Like I could easily lift 8 kg. I think most people could relatively easily lift 8 kg. The issue would be lifting a blanket that like you would. It's not like lifting an 8 kg dumbbell or something, or even a box. The weight will be like everywhere. You weigh around 57, so 8 kg was more than you were just trapped under there. You were just like struggling to get out. Oh no, you just be like, save me, and how much it moves around. Yeah, like I can imagine it's just like an awkward thing to hold on to. Just an awkward thing. It's like when I have to lift bags of coal for family members when I'm bringing it in for the fire. My PC acts as a heater for my room, but they like the fire. And sometimes like, you know, if you don't grab it the right way, like some of the weight, too much weight will go to one side, and you're like, oh shit. It's like one of those weighted nets for animals. just throw a net on someone and they just instantly fall asleep. Oh, it's too comfy and they go to sleep. What's that face? What's that face? What's up? Why is the... Isn't that shoes? Wait. I think that's... Yeah, that's shoe Lamau. The bags of coal. We just have a gas. We have fake... I've seen those fake gas fireplaces before. I think my family likes the warmth of the real fire. The dog does too. He was meant to go for another walk, but we had the fire on, and he was curled up by the fire. And usually if you say to him, you're like, hey, come on fella, let's go for a walk, he bounces up and he's all happy and excited. This time I said, come on fella, we're going for a walk, and he just lifted his head a little bit and rested it back down. He was lying by the fire. It's like, okay. And then I walked away. It's like, maybe he didn't understand. So I grabbed his collar and his lead and his... Well, he doesn't really have a collar. He has like a little coat that the lead clicks onto. So I walked over. It's not a full coat. It's just kind of like his chest. It's better for like he doesn't pull as much in it. So I walk around. Modernity calls for a gas fireplace. Return to tradition. Return to fire. To normal fire. Fire, wood and charcoal. But I walked around with like the stuff for walking him, and he just looked at it. It was like, he kind of sat up a little bit, gave a bit of a stretch, and then lied back down in front of the fire. And you know what? I don't blame him. You don't miss chopping wood for your fireplace. Dee has like the strongest back because she's just chopping wood all the time. It's like winter hits and she's like kicked out of the house and she's told to cut like at least 20 trees worth of you are not good at it. It was such a mood. You wish your late grandfather used to have stacks upon stacks of chopped wood outside his house. Man, that house was warm, I bet. I bet that house was lovely and toasty all the time. So many splinters. Oh no, D. I remember I went camping once when I was younger, and we just kind of decided that it wasn't a big tree. We just decided to chop down a tree. It was kind of tall, but it was a thin enough tree, and I was like, I do not understand how to swing this axe properly, and it took a while to chop it down, I must say, but it was fun. It was fun. And there was a little creek that ran behind some houses that were too small for land, and the council didn't do anything with it. So the motherfucker just set up his chair out there and hammered in a new fence and took the land for himself. Based claiming land for yourself. I need to start doing that. I want to go and just claim land. You also found out wood overseas is butter soft, so maybe you just had Aussie debuff. Could be, yeah. You could have just been working with some like really hard wood, and like, you know, Aussie is just kind of playing a prank on you. Like when they sold those trees to California and didn't tell them that they take 40 years to grow, and then by the time they grow really big, they, you know, excrete a extremely flammable like sap, and that they needed to be cut down or burnt like controlled burning. And then you had great forest fires. They were like, you can keep it, so he turned it into his wood chopping area. The house is still in that land today when we checked. That's really cool, and that's really cool of your grandfather to do that. It was your grandfather, wasn't it? That's what you said. Your late grandfather. That's based. He fought the government. Well, he didn't really fight. He just laid claim to land, and they were like, okay, you can have it. You know what? I'm just gonna finish this like 2 pages. Such a cool dude, but very tragic. He was amazing. Oh, I'm sorry. He sounds like quite the individual. I have to say, he sounds like quite the man, a man's man. Central to the humanist enterprise was the defense of a notion of human dignity. In order to defend such a notion, it was necessary for humanism to emphasize the fact that man was created in the image of God and to minimize the effects of the fall and original sin. These points were crucial for most humanists, but also problematic. They understood that without a liberal reading of both matters, they would have to conclude that the great moral heroes of antiquity, Socrates, Cicero, and Cato, had been damned. Dante had sought to finesse this problem by putting Socrates in limbo, but this was insufficient for most humanists who needed to believe that morality and piety were more or less identical. If men such as Socrates had been damned, it would be hard to avoid the anomalous conclusion that God was indifferent or even unjust. However, it is possible for such virtuous men to be saved without knowing Christ. If it was, then it was hard to understand why Christ and his sacrifice were even necessary. Humanists employed 2 different strategies in their efforts to resolve this problem. Following Paul's account in Romans that God's laws were revealed through the order of nature, they argued that the pagans who had led virtuous lives according to nature had thus realized, honored, and perhaps even worshipped God, even though they did not know of Christ. This was especially true for those pagans such as Socrates and Cicero, who recognized that there was only one God. Thus, the virtuous pagans could, by only some slight stretch of the imagination, be counted among the elect. The problem with such a view was that it seemed to propel one towards Pelagianism. The second possibility, which we will discuss below, was to imagine that there was a common origin to both Christianity and pagan thought. Such a common origin could justify the humanists' belief that the moral teachings of pagans was inspired by God, and thus essentially identical with the teachings of Christ. He had 2 or 3 stillbirths. And your late aunt was born with many health problems, being born with blood pumping the wrong way. That does seem like a rough thing if your blood is pumping the wrong way. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry to hear that. He was always so loud and funny, but when dinner came around, he would always have a good cry. Families always like him an odd routine to add for dinners, but they weren't the same without it. I'm sorry. That's rough to go through. I hope your family have been kind of keeping in touch with all each other and giving yourselves all the needed support, all the needed support. I if I could, I would give you a hug and a pat in the back and tell you it's all right. The reapproach, the reapproachment, the reapproachment. No, that's not the word. The rapprochement of pagan and Christian thought was facilitated by the work of Leonardo Bruni, who was a student of Suetati, and like him served as a papal secretary before returning to Florence in 1415 as his successor in the chancellorship. Among his many contributions, Bruni greatly eased religious suspicions. The humanist reading of secular texts corrupted piety by translating and publishing a letter from Basil, one of the greatest Christian heroes, defending the reading of pagan poets by Christian students. He also popularized the new notion of history, originally formulated by Flavio Biondo, a divided history not according to the four empire theory that had dominated the historical thinking for almost 1,000 years, but according to a tripartite division of an ancient, medieval, and modern periods. This new understanding, which was indebted to Petrarch's notion of a dark age separating his time from that of the ancients, was crucial to the development of Christian humanism, for it legitimized humanist efforts to recover a pristine ancient Christianity much closer to ancient moral thought than the corrupted Christianity that had developed during the Dark Middle Ages. Finally, he was one of the first to translate the Platonic dialogues, although his translations were not very accurate. Such a belief in the possibility of a rebirth that combined Christian piety with ancient morality was especially clear in the work of one of Bruni's students, Lorenzo Valla. Valla was a fierce defender of Christianity, but also a convinced Neoplatonist, and he was opposed to Aristotelianism and Averroism as any of those who had authored the Condemnation in 1277. He was particularly upset by what he saw as Stoic and peripatetic moralism posing as Christian piety. You've all been doing well. He wasn't himself for years. Yeah, I assume you wouldn't be. You had time to adjust. Yeah, that type of stuff does. Unfortunately, when you have things that affect the brain, you know, someone can change in many ways. Your nan's doing better. It was putting a lot of stress on her in the end. That's good, I suppose. In many ways, you'd rather remember the person that they were rather than what an illness can happen. Can cause. But I'm glad to hear that you're doing better. What's up? And that you and your family are doing okay too. He believed that to be Christian, one had to accept the truth of Scripture. As he saw it, however, this truth had also been massively distorted. Fortunately, humanist philological tools enable scholars to correct many of these distortions. The most famous, and certainly the most important of his corrections, was his sensational demonstration in 1440 that the donation of Constantine, the foundation for the temporal authority of the papacy, was a forgery. While this demonstration weakened the Church's power, it was not anti-Christian, nor was it understood to be so at the time. Indeed, Valla was appointed papal secretary in 1448, in part because of the very linguistic skills that it had enabled him to demonstrate the forgery. As we saw in the last chapter, Petrarch saw humans as willing rather than as rational beings. Indeed, this was intrinsic to their individuality. The consequences of this position, however, was never entirely clear to Petrarch and only gradually became clear to later humanists. Thinking from this perspective is not a form of contemplation but of action. In thinking, humans do not simply discover and inherit order in the world, but will it or give it form. All logos or language is thus a form of poiesis, or poetry, and knowing is thus always a form of creation. Human creation, however, is not and cannot be a creatio ex nihilo, because, or a creation out of nothing is what that means. Because divine will has already given the world form. Knowing thus is always a remaking, a mimesis, to use Plato's term, of the original divine making, a re-willing of what God had already willed. In this way, art comes to play a central role in the humanist project. Although it is not conceived of as an exercise of creativity or expression, rather drawing on Plato, humanism imagines the artist to recreate the divinely beautiful essence of creation in all of its shapes and forms, up to and including the depiction of God himself. I think what we're about to get into is pretty much like the rise of the Renaissance, but I think I'm going to leave it there because my voice is getting slightly scritchy, and I have something important coming up soon. I definitely don't want my voice to be sore. So what I might do, hang on, let me give a stretch. Thank you for the hydrate redeem D as well. I took a nice sip of water there. I'm gonna go and have a nice cup of tea too, and have some Jaffa cakes. I have some dark chocolate Jaffa cakes. They're gonna be so good. They're gonna be so good. Stretch, yeah. I loved watching my dog stretch is always so funny because they go into like it's basically a downward dog pose, but they just get into such a deep stretch, and he's like, and then he stands up and he gives himself a little shake. It's very cute. Thank you for stream. Please share cake. Oh wait, no, Jaffa cakes are like these little things. Do you guys have Jaffa cakes in Aussie land? I would share my dark chocolate Jaffa cakes with you, D. Don't worry. You can get some. They're really good. They're really good. Okay, next reading stream. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to read and finish that chapter because it I didn't get a whole lot of reading done today. I meant to get at least another 10 pages, but it's fine, it's fine. Question, Ruadh. Sure. Thank you for the follow, __ beans. Would you say Jaffa is a cake or a biscuit? I mean, it has cake in the name, but cake is more, when I think of a cake, like it's not a cake. It's a type of biscuit, but it's not like it's a soft biscuit, I guess. But it's like it's sponge cake. It's sponge cake with like orange jam. So I'd probably, I don't know, you're more of a biscuit side. You see it as a softer and orange hobnob. Yeah, that's a decent way to describe it. I would say biscuit. I would probably call it a biscuit as well, because cake to me has you would have a slice of cake. You wouldn't have a slice of a Jaffa cake. Doesn't make any sense. You would have a Jaffa cake. Anyway, let's see. Is there anyone online for us to raid into? And we have to make sure that they're doing some ASMR, because I don't want people to get scared. They're starting soon. A slice of Jaffa cake, like wartime rationing. Wartime rationing your Jaffa cake. Come on, where's the ASMRs? Daya's. it's a shame because Dai is doing a stream, like not an ASMR stream. I just feel bad reading into someone who isn't doing ASMR for like the people who come to relax, you know. But Dai is currently collabing with Catboy Owie, so that's good to see. I know he collabed with him earlier, so it's nice to see them collabing again. Oh, ooh, it was live. No, those are mostly just. I see, same category. Let's see if I can figure this out. Anyone doing? Nope, that's 18 plus ASMR. Ooh, who's this? No, they're doing kind of 18 plus stuff. Okay, okay. I'm trying to decide, will I raid into someone who isn't doing ASMR? I'll try and see, is there anyone who is very cozy and comfy? Oh, you know what? Hang on. Dearly You is live. We're gonna raid into her. She's doing some ASMR. She's starting soon. She's still on starting soon, but we'll raid into her. I think that's a good idea. So. Thank you all for joining me. It's always a pleasure, and it's a pleasure to be back after a couple of days break. I'll probably do like maybe a Baldur's Gate stream soon, or maybe I do want to do a there likely is excuse me, I apologize. I have something on tomorrow, so there's likely not going to be a stream. If there is going to be a stream tomorrow, it's going to be actually quite early. But we'll see. Probably not. But then Friday night and then Saturday morning, I also have something. One thing I may be drunk at, so you know I may have a nice night, but probably won't be a stream tomorrow. But oh, she's live now. That's perfect. But we will raid into Dearly You. Go give her some love. Thank you all for joining. I hope to see you guys next time. I want to do a proper ASMR stream with the 3DO and where I like go from side to side. So, go to Mila Mahagat and Slán go fóill, and I will talk to you